Hey, Paige, welcome. How are you doing?
Hey man, I'm so excited to speak with you about From Birth to Schmoedown.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I really like doing this. The ones I've done so far are very interesting. A couple of surprising things that, I learned from some people. Brandon Hanna is one that his episode has not yet come out, but it will. And I learned a lot from him. It was really cool. So
I know
I'm
I've
enjoying.
been watching a few of these, and I feel like I'm learning so much about people. I'm like, hopefully, I mean, I'm an open book, so maybe people will be surprised or not at all with what I have to my
Eh,
story, I
find
guess.
find out. But again, thank you for being here. And the name of the show is From Birth to Schmoedown. So, Paige Frabetti, where were you born?
So I was born in Brockton, Massachusetts. So that's like South Shore of Boston. It's about like 20, 25 minutes from the city.
All right, and how far from the coast is that?
Like half an hour. Well, from like the Cape, it's like 45 minutes, but like to the beach, coasty area is like 30, 35.
So I would assume that you grew up going to the beach quite a bit.
Oh yeah, I mean, where I'm located. Like I'm born and raised in Massachusetts. Oh, obviously in Massachusetts, but like born and raised in Brockton. I did live in like a town outside of Brockton till I was about like 4 or 5, and then I moved back here. But for me, where like the centrally where I'm located is obviously South Shore of Massachusetts. So I'm like 20, 25 minutes from the city. I'm like 30 minutes from the beach. I don't For me, I'm in like the perfect location because I can go into the city, stay in the suburbs, or go right to the beach and like be in like the Capey area. So I'm
Yeah.
very happy where I grew up. And I've always like said like I would love to like move to LA and such like that or New York, but I just love the location where I'm at because I have like the best of both worlds, I feel like in a sense.
Now, I don't see. I'm not good with the geography, and I'm not good with what's farmland. But I am curious. Is there farmland out there in Massachusetts?
I like West Coast. Like if you go like to the Berkshires, which is
Okay.
like out west, like past Worcester and all that. Um, like my grandfather like like he likes hunting and camping and stuff like that. So he owns land in the Berkshires, so he goes out there like sometimes. Uh, but yeah, I mean, I like the country land, but I think I'm definitely more of like a city girl.
Right. Right. Well, my grandfather was a hunter and fisherman as well. Did you ever tag along with him or anything? Do any hunting or fishing?
I've never gone hunting. I'm like afraid of guns. Don't like them. My grandfather's like the sweetest man in the world too. So you'd be like, wait, you go like turkey hunting? What? I've definitely gone fishing. Remember the first time I actually went fishing with him? It was me and my sister, and I and I hooked my sister. Like I reeled back the rail and hooked her right through her arm, and she was probably like, "This is the moment that we definitely still hate each other." So
That's great. Yeah, my grandpa used me as a hunting dog when he was looking for rabbits one day. All I'm going to say about that is he shot first and then yelled, "Get down, boy!" So that was quite the
usually
experience.
how it works, right?
Yeah, but yeah, the fishing and stuff like that with the grandpa and you're there near Boston sports growing up, I'm sure as well. Were there any memories of going to any games or any sporting events, anything like that as a child?
I mean, yeah, definitely. I mean, I'm a huge Massachusetts itself is a very like sports oriented state. Like Boston and Brockton is literally known as the city of champions because like Rocky Marciano is from here. And obviously Boston with all of like our title wins and such like that. It's so big. And I'm a huge like hockey girl, so Bruins are like my life. But for me, yeah, I mean, I remember I feel like the most games I went to were either Bruins games or like Fenway Park, like going to see the Red Sox. And I like baseball, but I think it's like boring. I need like fast paced sports.
Right.
So for me, it was I remember going to see like the Sox like play a lot, and for me, it was more like the nostalgia of like the stadium itself. Like when I would go to Bruins games, I was just like invested in the game and the atmosphere. But for like going to Fenway Park, it's definitely like just the whole atmosphere and the legacy of the stadium itself, and just the whole surrounding area of it is just so overwhelming, but like so like powerful and like crazy to be like. so many greats have played here, and the stadium has been here for so damn long, and it's still like the same of how it's like always looked and been pretty much. But yeah, no, I've gone to like so many sports games and stuff like that, and that's especially when you got like get older and stuff. I remember like college and stuff. We'd be like, let's just go because we can get like $20 tickets and just go get reckless and be rowdy there. And it was just like a fun experience, to, like have that. And that's why I'm so grateful that I am close to the city that I can just go do that and it's a train ride away.
Right, right. Yeah, I don't live that close to the city. It takes me about a 45-minute drive through the country to get to the nearest city, and it's not even really a big major city. But I'm a country boy. What can I say?
Nothing
Uh,
wrong with that.
I do love big cities, though. Say Chicago, I absolutely love that city so much.
I've never been. I want to go so badly. A lot of
Yeah,
people compare Chicago to like Boston, so I'm very curious to see like how Chicago is. I want to see
yeah,
that bean. That's what it is, right? Did I
yeah.
make that up?
I've never been to the East Coast as far as like I've been down the East Coast of Florida, but I've never been anywhere other than Florida. I've never been on the East Coast
Oh
anywhere.
man, you have to come. I always say to people like, to me, Boston and Massachusetts, I think is like one of the prettiest states in the world. We got all 4 seasons, and there's just so much different. We have the beach, we have the cities, we do have like the country land in a sense. Like we got the best of both worlds here, and we got the best sports teams. So
Mm, right on. Okay. See, I can't argue with you too much on that. Me being a Reds fan, the Cincinnati Reds were the first professional baseball team ever, and then they sold the team to Boston. So I really can't say anything too harsh against Boston because technically, well, no, if you want to get that way, Boston later then sold them to Atlanta.
yeah.
So you get into that whole downward spiral. I won't give Atlanta any love, but I will give Boston the love as far as the baseball goes. It's a great baseball city. But please tell me you're not a Patriots fan.
Oh, of course I am. I
I
mean,
That's okay.
oh,
You're from the Boston
yeah,
area. Respect it.
exactly. And Foxborough Stadium is 25 minutes like from my house too. So and that whole and obviously we have a newer stadium that's been there probably for like 15 years now. But Gillette is so beautiful. I mean, it's sad without seeing the beautiful Tom Brady there, but I've actually never gone to a Pats game before because all of these tickets are like ridiculously expensive. But I've gone to like preseason like workouts, and I think I've been to a preseason game. But I've been to a lot of concerts at
Oh,
Gillette, so I guess I can experience like the whole atmosphere of it through like a show more than like seeing that. But I've seen like Tom Brady in person, and he is just as beautiful and tall as he looks on the field.
I will let you have it. In this particular circumstance on this show, I will let you have that one. Before we do get back into a little bit, because I love talking to people who love sports, especially from cities that love sports. And I always get sidetracked a little bit with that. I do have a question though before we get back on track concerning hockey. Since you love it so darn much, is there any way that you could? Okay, if I were to say to you that real competition does not end in a tie, what would your response to that be, knowing that I'm specifically talking about hockey?
Uh, Completely false. I mean, maybe just because I'm such a competitive person that no matter what, I think the better player or within the circumstances of the gameplay, someone will come out on top in a sense. And even if and for me, it's also like who wants it more, I think also goes like a long way. A silly mistake can change up everything. But for me, I'm such like a competitive person, and I'm very like passionate about like what the things I do in life that there's no ties in life. You either win or you lose, I guess, which is a horrible outlook to say, like coming out of my mouth. But no, like it's what you do though too, and then references to life too. It's what you put forward and what you do to be able to like succeed or be happy or win in sports in a sense. So
So you're okay with the tie in sports?
it's better than a loss.
I cannot argue with that. I cannot argue with that whatsoever. Um, now, I obviously you are in the Schmoedown now talking about competition, which is movie trivia. So, how old were you? You know, you were young, obviously, when you were getting into sports and everything. Did the movies come along about the same time, after, before? When did your love of film come into play?
Honestly, honestly, probably before even hockey. I remember seeing, oh, maybe like around the same time. I remember seeing like Star Wars was like what got me into cinema. The whole cinematic experience of like getting brought into like a different world. And like I wanted to be like Luke Skywalker. Like what? Like who didn't want to like wield the lightsaber in a sense, like or like have a cool like Yoda being like your mentor in a sense. So for me, it was definitely around the same time. And I remember when Phantom Menace came out that like my aunt took me to go see like all the original trilogy like in theaters, like the prep in preparation for Phantom Menace, so it was so cool to be able to have that experience, and, like, I remember, like, seeing that in theaters, and that, I think, definitely would just, like, opened my eyes to me and, like, I'm just, like, obsessed with this. Like, I always feel like in life that when life gets you down or anything like that, like, throwing on, like, a film can just bring you into, like, a new world and a new situation that you can just, like and that's how I am about, like, when I would get on the ice for hockey, like, I can leave everything else behind me right now because this is just what I'm focusing on, and this is, like, what I'm doing, and I feel the same way about cinema that, like, once I watch a film, like, I don't have to worry about my other issues going on in life because I'm either watching this person get, like, chased by, like, a serial killer, and I'm like, "Wow, maybe my life isn't this bad." Like, there's always positives with it and stuff like that. But for me, it was just I've always loved it. I've always wanted a lightsaber too. Can they
Yeah.
just make a real one and give me a real Yoda or a baby Yoda? I'll take that too.
Baby Yoda, I would prefer Baby Yoda. At least then you can teach him how to talk properly.
True.
Um, what was the first movie that you remember seeing in a theater?
For me, um, it was probably Phantom Menace or I remember watching James and the Giant Peach, but I can't remember if it was on, like, VHS or if it was in theaters. I just remember, like, vividly watching this film, like, on repeat, so maybe that was, like, maybe one of the first, like, VHS tapes, but I also remember I definitely saw, like, the first Air Bud in theaters, and I was such a tomboy when I was younger. I mean, I definitely still am, but when I was younger, like, I would be like, "Everyone has to call me Zach." Like, no,
Real.
Josh, that's his name, sorry, Josh. I was like, "I wanna go the retriever, and my name is Josh now." Like
That's great. Um, and you started playing. You actually started playing hockey around 7, I believe.
Yeah,
Correct. Now,
I
is this
did.
when you started in a league, or is this when you first put on the skates and started on the ice?
For me, so, like, I probably, like, started doing, like, learn to skate and, like, the invent like, the, learn to play hockey, like, around 6, but, like, I remember, like, after that, like, being, like, 7 and, like, being on the ice and you're like a little, like, squirt out there and, like, you get to play, like, all the different positions and stuff. I remember, like, vividly, like, the first time and this was, like, when I was 7, like, the first year, like, I played, like, in a league, uh, Brockton Boxers, um, and I played with the boys too, like, I always played with the boys up until I was, like, 13, I think, because I was like, "Wow, all these guys are getting a lot bigger, and I'm not," and obviously there's checking in hockey and stuff, and I was a very, like, physical person, like, I always had the most penalties because like, I was just, like, way too physical because I felt like I had to hold my own in a sense because I was playing with the boys and stuff like that, but for me I was just like, "Alright, I'm gonna actually maybe get hurt from, like, doing this, so I need to, like, transition into playing with girls and such like that." Uh, but I remember though when I was 7 years old and we were playing all the different positions and stuff, and I remember I got to play goalie for the first and only time, and I remember just, like, being in net, and I don't think I got maybe 1 shot. on me, and I was so upset 'cause I was so excited to play goalie. 'Cause I was like, you get to play all this gear on, like, you feel, like, so legit and, like, big, and I got no gameplay really, and I was like, "Yeah, I'm over this. Get me, like, playing forward or defense right now," so I needed the fast pace of the moving around and such.
How long did you play hockey for in leagues and whatnot?
So I played from I was 7 to 19, I believe, and then I started coaching. For me, so I played with, like, town hockey, which is, like, was my team was the Brockton Boxers. I played with them from I was, like, 7 to 13. So I went from, like, pretty much, like, mites, squirts, like, peewees, and then bantams, and then like, I remember going to, Lake Placid and playing in the Can-Am tournament, and that was so surreal because and I think that was the last game I played with my boys' team, 'cause it was the last tournament of the year. So getting to play in Lake Placid and getting to play on that ice that, like, the miracle happened. Like, that whole experience was so beautiful and, like, mind-blowing that, like, I still have that sweatshirt and it it still fits me, which is so embarrassing. But, like, it was just such a cool experience to have that. Like, hockey has, like, always been my life, which is, like and now I have the Schmoedown, which is, like, what I'm even more grateful for. Because after I started playing boys, I was like, "I really need to start to figure out, like, I can't play like, they're getting too big and I'm not growing." And I was very physical, and obviously boys are probably gonna get more pissed off that they have this girl coming after them. So I started playing for, like, a club team, which is like a club elite team, so it was travel, so it was very, competitive, and so I was grateful enough to be able to try out and make this team called the BU Terriers, and that was the girls' team I played for, and then I would play for, like, random girls' town leagues, throughout that, but I was with the Terriers from I was, like, 12 to 13 to about 19 years old. And that was just like such a great experience because hockey for boys and girls, like boys hockey and girls hockey, they are the same. But with girls, it's more skill because
Mm.
you can't body check someone and such, even though I would. And that's why I always had the most penalties. But for me, it was more skill. So to be able to like learn that and just have the experience of also having like a couple female coaches, it was cool to be like, "Wow, I have something to look up to," and such like that, and hockey was, like, such a big thing for me because not to get, like, deep and sappy and stuff, but my mom passed away from a brain aneurysm when I was 9 years old. So for me, like, hockey was, like, my escape kind of. So, like, when that happened, like, that's when I started taking it so, like, so serious, and I was like, "This is, like, my world, and, like, this is my escape," and that's how I feel the same way with film too, that being on the ice was my escape and watching cinema was my escape from, like, dealing with situations that I was so overwhelming at, like, such a young age. So it was really cool to, like, have that experience, and I'm so grateful for hockey, and so I was going to play college hockey, but I ended up not playing, just because, um, when you go to a new school and stuff, you're surrounded by so much stuff, like, you wanna focus on friends, grades, and just, like, growing up in a sense, so I ended up not playing college hockey even though I went to school and got, like, recruited to play there, so I ended up not playing, but I'm still so grateful for all the experience I've had playing hockey and what it did for me personally, like, as a person. Like, it will live with me for the rest of my life because it really has made me who I am, and that's why after I stopped playing and after I graduated college, I started coaching girls hockey because I wanted to be that role model for girls that didn't have that and be able to have that great experience of not just being coached by your father or this random man. Nothing's wrong being coached by, like, your father or, like, a guy, but I think especially for, like, girls to be able to see that, like, "Oh, I can do this too when I get older," or, "I can play hockey just as long as as long as I want to," in a sense, because there always is that, like, there's another someone older than you that is did it and can do it, and, like, so being that role model and being able to have those girls see that through their eyes is why I love doing it so much. So I hockey has always stayed around with me for so long.
And you still currently coaching?
I did not coach, this past season just because of COVID,
Oh,
uh, but we shall see what's in the works moving forward.
Yeah, keep me posted on that in the future. That's awesome. I don't know. I had some real good coaches and stuff, growing up, and unfortunately, not all the coaches that we have are focused more on building character and moral support. I mean, because you're not always going to win, and that's
Exactly. Yeah.
uh, but
And
it's
that's the kind of coach I wanted to be. I wasn't about winning or losing. For me, sports teach you so much about life in a sense. So like you were saying, like the moral aspect of it and just like growing as a person. And like also remembering at the end of the day, like it is fun. Even though like I was coaching for club team. So like I was coaching like travel team, like these girls like had to try out and they didn't make it. They didn't make it. We were only accepting like good talented players in a sense or players that we think that could have potential to be like great and all of this such. So like when you're playing club and elite and same with coaching wise, sometimes it gets so overwhelming for kids such at such a young age that like I have to win. It's only about winning or losing or there's going to be consequences. And for me it was never about that. It was just like there's so much to learn in just the like on the ice, but off the ice, like with your team, because they really do become like your family in a sense. So for me, it was about like growing that like safe space to learn as a person and a player on and off the ice.
well, and something else you said strikes me is you were saying that female hockey players tend to have more skill set in the game because men are more physical with it. Uh, the first thought that pops in my head then, why doesn't every boys hockey team have a female coach who can help with that skill set so that they're, that's what I'm thinking. If the ladies have better skills, then why not have some ladies help the boys with their skills? I mean, I don't know.
I completely agree, man. Like I've been saying it for so long, and it's so great to be able to see like the NFL for the first time has like a female uh,
Hmm.
coach on the field, and I'm hoping like with all sports it can kind of get to that point because I think it is women bring such a different table like set of rules and morals I think to the game too with any sport than like a guy would in a sense. So I feel like and especially when it comes to like hockey with like the skill set and stuff, I'm just like, what are you people doing? Get
Yeah.
me as your coach, guys. I got you.
Now, when you were in high school, did you play any traditional high school sports like softball, baseball, football, any or not football?
Yeah, so for me, I went to fun fact, I went to an all-girls school, and I actually went to play hockey there. The team I played for, the BU Terriers, a lot of the girls that were on my team were all going there to play hockey, and I was actually gonna go to another school, to play hockey, but literally, like, a week before high school started, I was like, "I wanna, like, stay with these girls because I've been playing with them for the last few years," and, like, you grow really close with them, and to be on, like, the same team with them, like, the dynamic would just work because, like, we already flowed so well with each other that I think it would just make our high school team, like, that much better. So, a week before high school started, I decided to go to where I went to high school, which was Fontbonne Academy in Milton, and I went there, obviously played hockey, like, all 4 years. Uh, we went to the state championship 3 years in a row, my sophomore, junior, and senior year, and we won my junior yes, we won my junior year, which is pretty awesome, so I have a pretty ring, that I still treasure to this day. Uh, but for me, like, other sports besides hockey, I did, cross country for, like,
Okay.
3 years, and then I realized, "Wow, running's a form of torture. Why am I doing this to myself?" Um, and I also played lacrosse. I loved lacrosse. I thought that was a really fun sport because it very is similar to hockey, like, the gameplay in a sense. Um even though there's like a lot more people on the field. But I loved lacrosse. So it was pretty much like for me like cross country, hockey, lacrosse, but hockey was like always like my number one priority.
How hard is it to catch the ball with that lacrosse stick, the with the basket thing?
Well, it's actually funny, girls. And I don't know why these well, I'll tell you why. Boys lacrosse you can check and girls you can't. But girls lacrosse I don't know where my lacrosse stick is. I think it might be in my garage. But girls lacrosse sticks don't have the pocket like guys do. Like
Hmm.
guys have a deep pocket for lacrosse because they can like body check each other. So it's safer for when you're cradling that the ball will stay in. Girls
Oh,
hockey, you can only kind of like tomahawk, which
okay.
is why just not as safe. But we don't have a deep pocket like boys do. So I think it's actually harder to catch with a girl's. It's 100% it's harder to catch with a girl's stick than it is a boy's stick. But yeah, hand-eye coordination at its finest.
So I'm imagining this. So with the men's having the deeper pocket, they can kind of just catch it in the pocket. Whereas,
Yes, yeah,
uh, and this is just me asking and imagining how it would be. So when you've got the ball coming toward you and you're going to try to catch it, you have to move the stick in a direction to kind of keep momentum with the
yes,
ball in some way. I don't
yes.
know anything about physics, but I think you understand what I'm getting
No,
at.
no,
How
that's exactly it, yeah. Guys, you can just leave the stick right there and it's gonna fall right in. Girls, like, you have to, like, kinda catch it, like, at an angle for it to be able to
yeah.
cradle it in and keep it in the pocket.
Well, hell yeah, that's more difficult.
I've
Oh,
always said it, girl sports are a lot harder than guy sports. They just body check each other and nonsense, even though I'm all for that because 'cause I'm definitely a very physical person, but, like I said, it's more skill set, man. More
man,
skill set.
female rugby, that's some pretty hardcore shit there.
Yeah, I would be I'm a small person, so I probably would not do that great.
Oh man. Oh man, that's great. Oh. Um, okay, so we got lacrosse and we got hockey on your resume. There's got to be something else. Volleyball? Did you played something other than stuff
I
where
mean,
you
I definitely played, like I played soccer, like, when I was younger, like, for a couple years, but then like I said, running form of torture, even though I played lacrosse, which is also running, but I just like that whole atmosphere of it. I did play, like, baseball and, like, t-ball and stuff like that, which was, like, awesome. I remember actually I have, like, a vivid memory, like, at the baseball field when I was younger, like, playing t-ball. My sister's gonna be so mad at me that I tell this story, but, I remember, like, she hit the ball like, we were on, like, the same team, like, my uncle was, like, the coach, and there was, like, a it was, like, me and my sister and my 2 cousins on the team, so, like, it was, like, a fun, like, thing, like, for all of us to, like, bond and hang out and stuff, and my sister, like, hit the ball off the tee and ran to, like, 3rd base instead of, like, 1st, and, like, I will never let that down for her because I'm just, like it
Oh man.
describes her personality at the tee, so
Oh man. I do want to get to college here in a second, but I do want to ask one more question concerning high school because I'm curious and you're here and I want to know. Being an all girls school, how did that work with no boys around?
I mean, so we had, like, I guess what they call them, like, brother schools, and they would do, like, school dances and stuff, which would definitely get rowdy at, like, the boys' schools. Um, but yeah, like and also, like so I went to school in Milton, which is very close to Boston. So, like, a lot of my friends were from, like, Quincy, um, like, West Roxbury, Southie, and, like, Dorchester and stuff, so I would actually hang out with, like, a lot of their friends, like, with them. So I was always hanging out with, like, the Boston boys, and you know
Right.
how all they are. Um, but, no, you still find them. They're always around. You can never get rid of boys. They're everywhere.
I could not imagine going to an all boys school and I just every single day, no ladies around. Come on, guys.
I mean, I will say it was, you didn't have to worry about, like, that nonsense in class that you would with, like, boys around, like, this goofing I mean, like, I was definitely, like, the goofball, like, I would always be, like try to make, like, funny jokes or just, like, be all over the place, like, in class kind of in a sense. But, like, you didn't really, like, have, like, how you would, like, if you went to, like, a public school, like, boys being, like, obnoxious and, like, ridiculous and, like, disrupting class all the time. So, like, I guess it was better for that aspect, even though school was, like, really never, like, my thing. It was always about, like, hockey and such
Yep.
like that. But I don't know, it was different because like I said, like, I went to, like, normal, like, co-ed schools up until high school, so I remember, like, going off to college, like, being like, oh, this is gonna be a lot different. Like a lot different.
And speaking of college, where did you go to college?
So I went to New England College in southern New Hampshire, Henniker, the only Henniker on Earth. And there's literally more college kids in that town than there are people that live there. Literally in the middle of nowhere, the woods. Like, like that's where they should film horror movies. Just throwing that out there. We also had like Pat's Peak was out there, so like people that like the ski and like snowboard and stuff was like the place to be. But yeah, you were literally in the middle of the woods. A very, like, and it was, like, a small college too. There was probably, like, 4,000 of us there,
Okay.
so everyone knows everyone. So,
Now, what was the mascot?
we were the Pilgrims.
Pilgrims.
Yeah. Yep, I went to in high school, it was the Ducks, and then we went to the Pilgrims. I was like, "I'll never get a really cool mascot, I guess," like
I Ours was Trojans, which made no sense because there was a city nearby named Troy. But there's Trojans also, which made sense.
Yeah.
Um, Now, what kind of life did you have in college? Like what sort of things did you do for fun? What did you do? How did you do in school? What classes did you take? What did you want to study?
So for me, going into college, I wanted to actually be like a sports agent, like and do something with sports. Like that was always my big thing. Like either be like a sports agent or to do like physical therapy. But I was bad at science, and being a sports agent, you have to go to law school. So I was like,
Mm.
I don't have time for all that. So I like tried to figure it all out of what I really wanted to do. And kind of like sports marketing was always like a big thing to me. I love like the entertainment marketing and like publicity, uh, working as like a publicist or like promotions and such like that. So marketing has always been like a cool thing, I thought. Uh, and like obviously like watching like films growing up and stuff too, and like seeing all the promotional stuff that goes behind all that. I was like, this is just like a really cool uh, communications job that I think that I would succeed really well in. So for me, I studied so it was sports entertainment is what my major was. But I had a focus in marketing and then I minor in communication. So that was like my thing. Um, but yeah, I really liked it. I loved it was a lot of, like, business courses and marketing and such like that, but I love that whole aspect because the classes weren't just, like, boring and basic, they were all about, like, sports or entertainment, and so, like, that kept me entertained because I was such a big sports person, like, growing up my whole life, um, so I really, like, dug that, and I don't use my degree now, but, I definitely do in a sense, but we'll get further down the line kinda with all that stuff, but, who knows, maybe one day. Uh, I did use it, though, at some point. Uh, but for me, for college, like I said, we were in the middle of nowhere. So it was like we had the mountain, which was nice. So like skiing, I was a skier. I cannot snowboard for save my life. Even though I thought snowboarding was so cool, I could never do that to save my life. I remember one day my friends took me to go snowboarding and my butt was I'm not even joking around. My butt cheek was legit purple for landing on my ass so much. I was like, this looks like I was abused. Like this is not okay. And I'm a really good skier, so I was like, I'm gonna stick with this from now on. So it was definitely we would do skiing like here and there, but like for me, it was. I mean, I don't wanna sound like I was a party girl, but, like, when you're in the middle of nowhere, that's what you do is you party and stuff like that, so it was, like, pretty much like partying, but also, I will say, me and my roommates, we had the best experience because we all loved movies, and horror movies were, like, our go-to thing. So, literally every night, we were, like, watching a new horror like, we were always watching new movies and stuff like that. So, I think that's what made me love movies even more being having that sense of, like, friends that loved it just as much as me. Like, I'm not even joking around. My friends were obsessed with the Halloween franchise. So I
Mm.
couldn't tell you how many times I've watched all of those films on repeat. I remember on you could, like, record, like, movies and stuff on, like, on demand on, like, Xfinity, and that's what was on repeat at my apartment, was always Halloween, which I'm not complaining about at all because Michael Myers is a badass. But for me, it was literally, like school, partying, movies, and obviously, like, schoolwork and stuff. But
Right.
we also had a rink on campus, which is cool too, so we could always, like, go hang out on the ice and stuff like that. And, like, a lot of my friends well, a lot of my guy friends, like, played hockey, like, in high school and stuff. So, it was, like, fun to be able to get on the ice and, like, obviously, like, my girlfriends and stuff would, like, come, and it was just, like it was a fun little thing that we could do and, like, just play, like, shoot around the ice and just play nonsense and stuff like that. But, yeah, when you're in the middle of nowhere, you have to make the best of it kind of in a sense.
Oh, for sure. For sure. Trust me, I know what that's like. I mean, around here we go for a cruise around the country block. I mean, that's an actual thing that you would say, "Hey man, you want to go for a cruise around the country block?" And you literally someone will come pick you up at your house and you drive around the country block, which takes about 10 minutes or so. And
I was
then
gonna say, honestly, we kinda used to do something similar like that because I will say though, even though we were in the middle of nowhere, it was I don't know what that was such a beautiful it was so beautiful because it was, a lot of, like, mountains. It was just, like, such a pretty area, especially, like, in the fall, like, the foliage was just so beautiful to see, and just to be, like, surrounded by that, like, it was different from where I grew up, so it was really nice to, like, have that in a sense, and I was only, like, 2 hours away from home too, so, like, I could go back to, like, the city/suburbs whenever I wanted to, but it
yeah,
was nice to have, like, that different atmosphere, and for college too, I think I always say, like, for college, like, even if you don't end up using your degree and stuff, I think it's such a learning experience for anyone because you're learning to be on your own, and you really are finding yourself, like, as a person more than you are in, like, high school because especially if you don't like, I didn't know anyone going into my college, like, I was like, I have to, like, start all over, like, make friends and do all of this, and I think that's, like, where, like, the learning experience of life really kicks in when you're 18 years old and you're like, "I'm on my own now, like, I have to figure this out who I wanna be as a person and how I wanna be moving forward," in a sense.
yeah. You're right about that. Those are the pivotal years right there.
Oh,
And
yeah.
you know, man, you can make some bad decisions in those years that affect
Exactly.
the rest of um now once you move out of college, what's your game plan from there? Like you leave the college experience. What does Paige for Betty decide to do with her first jump into the real world?
So, for me, obviously, it was very, like, scary and nerve-wracking because I was like, "Oh my god, this is real life now." Like, I'm an adult. I am, what, 21, 22 years old? So I'm like, "This is, like, big steps, like, you gotta, like, make moves or something. Because like, a lot of my friends, like, already had, like, jobs lined up, like, graduating. A lot of my girlfriends were, like, special ed teachers, so they already had, like, jobs lined up, and, like, a few, like, my guy friends, like, everyone, like, a lot of people had jobs lined up, and I was like, "Oh my god, am I, like, slacking?" Like, I don't know really what like, I wanna work in the entertainment field, but, like, it's so hard to get in that field because it's all about who you know in a sense. So for me, I was just like, "All right, let's see, like, what I can do." And music, especially my senior year of college, music was, like, a big thing for me, like, especially with, like, having to cram and wanting to graduate at the best, like, I would say I did very well in college compared to what I did in, like, earlier years of school. Like, I was always just, like, just sliding by, but in college, like, I took it a lot more serious because I was like, "I wanna succeed and I wanna be able to, like, do well in life." So I did, like, pretty well in college, like, which might be surprising for some people, I don't know. But, for me, so it was just like, "Okay, like, what's the next step?" And music was really, like, my saving grace because I didn't have hockey anymore. Um, so it was, like, music and film that really, like, kept me sane kind of in a sense. So, I remember, like, coming home and, like, the first month of graduating, I was just like, "I'm just gonna enjoy this time and not work for a couple weeks," and that got old really quickly. I always have to stay busy, if not, I think I go insane. So I was applying for jobs and such like that, and I knew some kid that worked at a radio station. He was an assistant producer on, an alternative rock station, And I was just like, "Well, that's, like, the type of music I listen to, like, that's so cool, like, I wanna work in, like, marketing and, like, the entertainment field, like, how do I do this?" And so, like, he was very generous enough to, like, kinda slide my name in there, and I remember having my interview, and honestly, it was one of the funnest interviews, like, I've ever had. Like, it was like, my old boss that worked at the radio station, Jason Rossi, if you're listening, I love you, man. And who I'm still in touch with this day because he's just so awesome. He was the promotions coordinator for this alternative rock station. At the time, it was Radio 92.9, and then it turned to like Alt 92.9, and now I think it's like Boston Rock 92.9. I don't even know, but like I just always listened to 92.9 like growing up, so it was like this cool thing. And Jason was the promotions coordinator, and he was also like the on-air like disc jockey, and he was just like such a fun person. And I just remember leaving that interview and I was like, wow, I really want this job. And it was to be like a promotions coordinator and such like that. I was like, this was just like be such a fun experience. And I got lucky enough that I actually got the job. So I was an assistant promotions coordinator for Radio 92.9 for about like 3 years, 2 to 3 years. And that was, like, one of the coolest jobs I've ever had in my entire life. Yeah, it may have not, like, paid the bills like I would want it to, but
Right.
it was, like, it was such an amazing experience, and it was so fun to learn and grow from people that enjoyed their job as much as like, you can go to work and just, like, it's just a 9 to 5, but, like, when I worked at the radio station, like, sometimes we were working 15-hour days because we were putting shows together, like concerts and such like that together for events, and but I loved every aspect of it, and to be able to spend time with people that I considered like my second family and that loved the job as much as I did was like such a cool experience. And I just loved music. I don't know if have you ever seen the show One Tree Hill? Probably not,
Yeah,
but
yeah, I've seen it.
okay, like that show is very music based. And
Okay.
I just like I loved like I don't know why, but like that music behind that show like made me fall in love with music so much more. And I feel like that's how, like, my experience was, like, working at the radio station because I was just like, it's keeping me sane and making me grow out of my shell too. Because when you graduate college too, you're like, "Oh my god, now I'm back at square one." Like, what do I do now with my life? When I was, like, in such, like, a fun, overwhelming state of life, and then going to the real world being like, "What do I do now?" But having that experience, like, working at the radio station was one of the coolest experiences I've ever had. And I'm so grateful for it this day, and I had so many great opportunities that came from it, and, like, I got to meet and work with so many, like, cool musicians and such like that, so it's just, like, it was mind-blowing.
I have a follow-up to something you just said that I'd like to ask you. You just brought up, you graduated college and you feel like you're starting over again. Now, did you have friends who did not go to college and just, started life out of high school?
Yeah. No, I definitely did, yeah. Actually, it
Okay.
was funny, a lot of my friends from home that I didn't go to high school with, that, like, outside of, like, my high school, like, friend like, my friends, like, my hometown friends, not, like, my like, where I went to school with, a lot of them went to, like, Voltech schools. So when
Okay.
they graduated, they didn't go to college because they already had, like, their trade on what they wanted to do in a sense. So they and that's when I was just like, "Wow, you guys are already, like, kinda, like, grown-ups in a sense." Like, it was just, like, weird to have that and be like, "You guys already have, like, a 9 to 5 or whatever, and you guys are making, like, decent money, but, like and you're doing what you, like, went out to do." So it's just like, "Wow, I'm starting over from square one again now." Like, and you
That's
guys are already, like, 3, 4 years ahead of me with all of that, like
and that's exactly what I was getting at. I wanted to know, even though you went to college, when others didn't, and there's nothing wrong with people who don't go to college. It's
Yeah,
not,
no, not at all.
but having gone to college, gotten that extra education, and then you say you feel like you're starting over, and then people who didn't go, I that is exactly what I was getting at.
Yeah.
So thank you. Yeah, yeah. I was wondering if you still felt that way, like compared to them, like, man, I'm just now starting, but in a way, you're a little bit ahead of them in a sense. You see what I
Yeah.
mean?
I mean, you know what? I always say this to people now that I went to college uh, and a lot of people I know that I went to school with or just and a lot of people I know in general, like, they went to college and they don't use their degree, and we're all in so much debt now. And sometimes like I look at it and I'm just like, wow, maybe I should have done it differently. I don't know. I also went to college though because I wanted to play hockey, and but I'm always so grateful for the experience I had with college, because I think going away to school and like not commuting, but like going away and staying at school is a big experience that I think everyone should experience, because I think it really helps you grow as a person because you're on your own. Um, and like I have like two younger sisters, so like for me, like well, one's a year younger than me, and then one's 8 years younger than me. So like we have like that, so, like, for me, like, my sister that is a year younger than me, we weren't, like, close at all until I went away for school, and I think, it brings, like, a lot of stuff together, I think, because 'cause you're just like, "Wow, we don't have each other now," like and, like, built our like, now we're best friends, like, even though we're complete opposites, like, we're best friends now, so, like, to have that experience and just to learn and grow as a person, but at the same time, like, people that don't go to school, like, you don't need to go to college to be successful. I mean, look at all these amazing people that do that, um 'cause sometimes I look at it, I'm just like, "Wow, like, maybe I just wish I was like a PA, like, on film sets." Like, that would be so cool to, like, work my way doing that, because I feel like you're starting so young that you can get all that experience and take it in so much. Um, but no, it's honestly, I always say people do what you love at the end of the day. Like, if people are pressuring you to go to school, but you don't want to, but you wanna do something in the arts or something, like, honestly, do what makes you happy, because I think at the end of the day, it's your life, and we're only on this planet for so long that literally take advantage of what you can do, because you don't know what leads to tomorrow, kind of in a sense. So, I mean, for me, it was always just, like, kinda trying to do what's gonna make me happy at the end of the day, and I think and that's what I want for, like, everyone, like, do what's gonna make you happy. Like I said, like, I'm in so much debt from college, but, like, also, like, that experience I take away, though, I'm so grateful for. So,
Yeah. Yeah, and you're gaining some new experiences that very few people will ever have a chance to experience by being in the Schmoedown. But before we talk about that, I would like to know, how did you first become aware of the Schmoes and Christian and Mark?
yeah, so for me, it was actually funny, one of my good friends got me into watching, like, the Schmoes Knows, and I remember them playing, like, on a couch, like, the first season they played on a couch, um, like, After Buzz, I think it was, I can't even remember off the top of my head, um but yeah, I was just like, I remember one day we were just like bored and we just like, like I said, I've always loved film. So I was like, let's look for like movie trivia. Like, do you ever remember that game, like Seen It?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, yeah,
Like, I remember I would always play that game and stuff. And I was just like, let's find something on the YouTube and to see if we can find anything different for different questions and stuff. And that's really how we like came across it. And my friend was like, oh, you need to like watch this. These guys are hilarious. Like, it's so cool because they do it with their friends. And that's kind of like how I fell in love with it, because it was just like a bunch of friends doing something together that they all enjoyed so much, and that's what made me enjoy it so much more. And I was like, "Dude, I wanna be friends with these people." Like, not just, like, hanging on the couch, answer questions, but, like, I wanna be friends with them. Like, so for me, like, when I found it, that was, like, a saving grace, because, like, I love that stuff, and then obviously then when they went to uh, Collider, like, movie news was, like, my jam, like, I would listen to that, like, every day to work, especially when I worked at the radio station, like, yeah, I only live 25 minutes from the city, but when you're traveling, into Boston during rush hour in the morning and on the way home, you're in the car for, like, an hour, hour and a half, 2 hours. So, it was literally, like, my saving grace, like, to kinda, like, be able to enjoy, because I was listening to music all day when I was at work, so, like, this was the time that I could, like, enjoy and listen to my movie news and, like, my movie trivia and stuff like that. So, for me, like, I found it, like, probably, like, right when I, like, graduated high school, I mean, college, which was 2015, uh, and it really was, like, my saving grace, because I was at that time in life that I was like, "I don't know what I wanna do." Um, I'm, like, starting life, like, completely over. I got this great opportunity to work at a radio station, and I was like, "I love music and film," and it was just, like, so great to have, like, the aspect of what I did for work in music, and then to also, like, be able to watch this for like fun, but feel like you're part of it, even though you're not in it. Like,
Now, at what point? At one point, did you realize? Well, not realize. Okay. At what point did you say to yourself, like, I want to be a part of this? I don't. Now, this is before the open cast. Not casting is probably the wrong word, but the open auditions.
auditions, yeah.
Yes. What moment before you found out there were going to be open auditions did you say to yourself, I'm going to be in this? I don't know how, but I'm going to do it?
Well, I'm not gonna lie to you, I never thought it was possible. I remember in like 2000, like 18, 2019. Like, by the way, I was like obsessed with the Schmoedown. I've seen every single episode, like uh every match and everything like that. And like I would always play along with my friends and stuff like that. And I would try to get everyone in like into it with me. So like I remember some nights we would leave the bar and, like, go to, like, a friend's house and be like, "Let's put the Schmoedown on." Like, and just being us, like, ridiculous and, like, drunk trying to play along and stuff like that. But for me, I just remember being, like, probably, like, 2018, I was just, like especially, like, in 2018, 2019, like, seeing, like, Rachel Cushing and, like, Clark Wolf play, I was just like, "Wow, these are, like, some bad" can I swear? "These are some badass women in this league," and, like, I wanna, like, be them, like and it was so refreshing to have like, especially, like, a lot of people can say, like, the Schmoedown is, like, a male-dominated sport or something like that, but then when you have these strong female players, uh, and characters, like, it made me feel so open that I was just like, "I literally wanna be in this so badly, like, I think I can compete, I might not be as good as them," like, I also wasn't studying like I do now, but, like, I was always, like, such, like, a huge fan, and I was just like, "I do pretty well at this, surprisingly," and, like, I feel like I related a lot to, like, Rachel and Clark that I was like, "I wanna be them, is that weird?" Like, they were just so awesome. Just so to see them, like, on screen and them playing, I was like, "I wanna do this." Like, I'm from Boston, though, like, how does that gonna happen? Because everyone is so, like, LA based and such like that, but like I've said, like, I always wanted to move to California. Like, that was always a dream of mine, and a lot of my friends will literally tell you, they're always like, "So, Paige, when you moved to LA?" Because I've been saying that, like, since I graduated, like, high school, that, like, I wanted to go to LA to either work in film or music. Like, that was, like, the 2 things I've always wanted to do, and obviously, those opportunities are very rare to happen. But now I'm, like, so grateful for the Schmoedown because there are so many possibilities that can happen, like, moving forward now.
Yeah, I mean, this has opened up a door to you. I can only imagine contacts. Someone just happens to see a Schmoedown match and you catch their eye, and they're like, "Holy shit! I see potential in this. I want to get a hold of her." Yeah, this has not only opened up a door to having fun within this community of people, which is a great community, but also outside of the community, because there are definitely major industry eyes that are on the Schmoedown. I mean, you got Ethan Irwin is in the Schmoedown, and he's a major player, and then you've got folks like Kevin Smith and all these other
Yeah.
people. They know what's going on and they know people. So yeah, you've opened a big door here. Good luck to you in that aspect for sure.
Thank you, I appreciate that. No, it is to me, I mean, it's been what, like, 6 months since this whole thing has happened, and I feel like my life has changed, like, so drastically for the better. Like, I've never thought this opportunity would happen, so the fact that, like, I was fans of these people, like, I never thought I would, like, have their phone numbers or talk to them, not only on a regular basis, but, like, all the time. Like, it's just to me, the whole situation is just so crazy, and I'm just so grateful for every little aspect of it all. And like you said, like, the whole community is just so amazing. Like, I am so grateful for everyone, like, the fans, the after shows, the people behind the scenes, the competitors, everyone. It's a huge family, and I'm so grateful that I've been able to join in on it and be part of it because I really do consider these people like my second family. So
Now, you became a part of it through the open auditions. Now, did you see the original post for that, or did someone else nudge you and go, hey, they're taking auditions? How did that come about, and what did you do for your audition tape?
So for me, it was funny. So obviously 2020 was like such a crappy year for everyone. The pandemic was so bad, and it was just like such a crappy place, I think, for anyone to be like physically. I mean, mentally, sorry. And I was like really like struggling with like anxiety and depression towards the end of like 2020. I think it was just like so overwhelming of like how life was just like changing so rapidly, and like I would have thought there would have been like zombie apocalypse before we had to deal with a pandemic, to be 100% honest with you. So the fact that like I was dealing with all those emotions and the stress and the anxiety and depression, like I felt like I was in like a really crappy place. Like I just wasn't happy anymore. And I remember I was on Facebook because I was a member of the Facebook group, and I was just on that, and I saw the posting that Christian put out for it. And I remember I sent it to my friend and I was like, haha, like we should like apply. Like there's no way in hell like we would ever get in. Like I was like, but let's just like do it for shits and giggles. And my friend was like, I don't think I'm gonna do it. And I was like, and I literally did it like I sent in my tape like a day before like auditions like ended. Like you
Mm,
had to send in your tape. And I was just like, you know what? I'm just gonna do it because what's the worst thing that can happen? Like, I was already, like, in, like, such a crappy place. I was like, "I just wanna do this to see what happens, like, I'll never get in, but at least I can say I tried," kind of in a sense. And, yeah, ever since then and it's and, like, people will, like, tell you that it's, like, close to me, like, I'm, like, in the best place I've been in my life in a long time because of the Schmoedown. So, like, I'm just it's just so crazy. I'm, like, getting kind of emotional thinking about it, but, like, it really has done, like, so much for me, and, like, I'm so grateful for this whole opportunity. Because I remember, like, doing my audition tape, like, I was, like, doing it in my bedroom, and I was like, "Oh my god," like, this is, like I was like, "Do I script it? Like, how does this work?" Like, I was just, like I was so nervous to do it. I'm like, because I'm like, "Dude, this is gonna, like, get seen by, like, Christian and Mark," and, like, I look up to them so, like, highly, so I was just like, "Oh my god, I don't wanna look like an idiot." So, I just, like I don't know, I tried to, like, be, like, myself, like, I was, like, trying to be like, "Alright, let me bring out, like, the hockey sense in me and, like, kinda, like, bring out, like, my feistiness in a sense," and, like, it was just so I just, like, winged it kinda, like, I just talked about, like, how, like, what film has done for me, like, as a person, kinda like I said way earlier in this interview that it really is, like, a saving grace for, like, a lot of people, and like I said too, like, my mom passed away when I was younger, so, like, hockey and film was just, like was my escape. It was, like, my go-to thing, that, like, kinda, like where I found, like, happiness and stuff. So to, like, have that and, like I'm a huge collector of, like, physical media, like, I have, like, over 300 Blu-rays, like, I love vinyls, like, I have random VHS tapes, like, I love film itself, so I was just, like, talking about that in my in my audition tape, and of course, I had to call out the big bad boss man, Ben Bateman, because obviously watching his I know it's just, like, character work and stuff like that, but I was like, "Man, someone needs to put this guy in his place, and I think I can do it." Like, so, like,
I
I
too.
yeah, and our audition tape, like, you really had to, like you had to call someone out, and I was like, "That's easy, I know who I'm calling out." Like, so, like, yeah, just the whole thing, it was just, like, such a grateful I never thought this would happen. I also thought my tape was, like, so bad. I was like, I look so nervous, like, even though I was, like, trying not to be, and I've gotten so comfortable, I think, like, being, like, on camera now. I mean, I always was, but, like, when you look up to these people, like, so highly that you're just like, "I don't wanna look like an idiot," or anything like that. Um, it's just so crazy. This whole thing is just so crazy.
I love it. I love it. And we hear Sam talk about you behind the scenes. We know what you can do on the screen in matches, but Sam speaks very highly of you behind the scenes and how much you do for the team. Let me ask you this now: as your career progresses, and whenever it may be, you move away from the competition aspect of it. Is there anything else, and if so, what other than being a competitor would you like to do to contribute to the production and the furthering of the Schmoedown?
Well, I mean, I hope they keep me around as long as possible because, like I said, like it really was like my saving grace. I feel like I've grown so much as like a person, and like my film knowledge overall has just grown so much, and I've got to meet so many great like people that I would have never met in my entire life that I'm so grateful for. And so yeah, I just hope I get to stay around as long as possible, like as a competitor. But if not, like yeah, like I would love to like be behind the desk or like manage at some point because I really do care so much about the Schmoedown that like it really is like my it's like my second job. Like when I'm not working, I'm like studying or like going over questions or making flashcards. Like I said earlier, I'm so into physical media. Like I make flashcards. I know a lot of people do like Excel sheets and stuff. Like I need like the physical thing in front of me. Like it's just the best way for me to learn, I think. And like I said earlier, like school wasn't really like my thing until like college. So like I have to like study like that much extra harder than maybe someone that has like a photographic memory or something like that. So for me, it's like just, like, putting in the work, and I care so much that, like, I would love to, like, manage or be behind the desk or something because I feel like I know how much work it has to be put into it because I've already putting in so much work, and I feel like there's still so much work that has to be done to get to the level I want to be at one day. So, yeah, we'll see where this journey takes me. I just hope I get to stay around as long as possible because I love everyone a part of it. I love the show. It's just it's a dream come true. Cloud 9 status.
I'm glad that it's working out for you. And whether no matter what part or role you play in the Schmoedown, personally, I see you sticking around for a very long time. I think you've already just so far in your short career, you've already contributed a lot more than what people would realize. Um, but yeah, looking very forward to the rest of this season and the rest of your career in the Schmoedown. Thank you for your time here, Paige. But of course, we're not quite done because this show being inspired by Inside the Actor Studio, in honor of the great John Lipton, I ask each of the guests here the 10 questions that John would ask his guests at the end of
Ooh.
Inside the Actor Studio. So we will end it with this. Paige Frabetti, what is your favorite word?
Well, you said I could swear on this, right? I mean, it's fuck. Because it can be used as an adverb, adjective, verb, noun, you name it. That word can be used in so many different levels. Some may call me a truck driver, but I swear a lot, and fuck is my favorite word. So,
And what is your least favorite word?
ooh, least favorite word. Oh, all right. Well, this is like funny, I guess, but like, I guess like moist. I don't like that word at all. I don't. I feel like when you just put it in front of anything, it just doesn't sound good. Like, yeah. Just thinking about it gives me like the heebie-jeebies. Not a fan.
What turns you on?
For me, it's people probably might think this would be like a sexual answer, I would say, but for me, it's honestly like making other people like happy. Like, I don't know, I've always been that type of person, like, when I know I can make someone smile or laugh or something like that, like, it makes me feel good inside and, like, it brings out, like, the best in me, so I feel like that kinda, like, turns me on in a sense, like, being able to, like, put a smile or, like, make someone, like, laugh. Even though I'm
And
not that funny at all, but
you're funny, trust me. And what turns you off?
ooh, what turns me off? That's a good one. I think people that so I'm just gonna relate to just like people, I guess. But like people that like, no, I guess know-it-alls. Like, I hate when people will come into a situation and will, like, either, like, attack someone or think they know something when they don't know the whole story, or I don't know. I'm always the type of person, like, there's 3 sides to every story, so I hate people that just, like, think they know it all, and they're just like, "Oh, like, no. Like, chill out. Like, take a chill pill, dude." Like, for me, I just not a fan of know-it-alls because there's so much in life to know. Not everyone knows it all, so.
What sound or noise do you love?
Ooh. That's a good one. For me, I guess sound. I don't know why. I like the sound of like a hockey buzzer. Like then they end like the periods. It's like I don't know. I just like it just like brings me back to like when I was a kid, I guess. So like I don't know. It could be annoying to most people, but like I really like that sound. So
And what sound or noise do you hate?
when my dog howls, because that was the dumbest thing I ever taught my dog to do, because I thought it was so cute at first when she was a puppy and I taught her how to howl, and then it turned into the most annoying thing in the entire world, because if she's alone for 5 seconds, she will just, like, howl, and it's not even like a cute howl, it sounds like something's dying, and I'm like, "Oh my god, what did I do?" Like
What is your favorite curse word?
I mean, we already know this one is fuck. So,
What profession other than your own would you like to attempt?
for me, I would one day, I mean, as of right, a lot of people don't know this about me, but I manage a residential group home for adults with disabilities. So, like, I oversee the residents, the home that these adults live in, which I always say, what's going to get me into heaven. But, like, the dream, honestly, I would love to be, like, a screenwriter or, like, a director one day in, like, film. I always have, like, so many, like, movie ideas, like, running through my veins, like, every day, and I'm just like, "I need to just get it onto paper." And, like, I just have a million nonsense, like, notes written down, like, not in order at all, like, in notebooks, a bunch of notebooks. But I would love to do that one day. Like I said, I've always wanted to work in film. So the fact, like, I'm in Schmoedown doing, like, the trivia part of it is, like, fun because I'm learning so much more than I ever would, so but yeah, I would love to, like, be a director one day. That would just be so cool.
What profession would you not like to attempt?
Ooh. Hmm. Uh, I guess a doctor because I hate blood. I know I'm supposed to be the Boston badass and tough and badass, and I am. I really do think I am tough. But when I see blood, I freak out. I love horror movies. I just can't do, like, the torture porn stuff, like Saw and stuff, and, like, Hostel. I can't really watch those because I'm just like, "Oh, like, way too much blood." I remember one time my younger sister, like, cracked her head open, and I just, like, panicked because I was just like, "This is too much for me." Like, I freaked out. So, yeah, blood, I don't know how people can be surgeons, especially, like, heart surgeons. What? Oh my god. That I would just literally, if I saw someone's chest ripped open, I would just peel back. Like, not for me at all.
And if heaven exists, what would you like to hear God say when you arrive at the pearly gates?
Ooh, that's a fun question. Probably like this is so bad of me to say. Probably like, "Welcome, motherfucker." Like, "You've made it to the big times." Like, "You actually did good in life to make it here." Like
That's great. I could imagine nothing less from God when you arrive.
fingers crossed. Hopefully that's what he says to me and I don't wake up and I'm just like, "That's what the devil's saying to me," and I'm like, "Fuck. What did I do wrong in life?"
This has been great. Paige Frabetti, thank you very much for being here, and good luck to you in the remainder of the season and your career in the movie Trivia
Thank
Schmoedown.
you, man. No, this was so nice to be able to chat with you, not just about Schmoedown, but kind of just about life. And hopefully, like people, I guess, got to like learn like a different side of me. Like the Boston Badass, like, is, like, who I am, but, like, there is more to me than just, like, I am a sensitive, nice person. I like to think I am, so but when I get in those trivia matches, it's game on. But no,
Oh
it
yeah.
was just so nice to be able to do this and to chat with you, like, about my life and stuff because I haven't really got to do that out on camera with people, so I'm so glad it was with you, Jay. So, thank you.
You're welcome, and thank you very much. I had a great time as well, and I hope everyone enjoys getting to know more about you.
Me
So,
too. Hopefully people aren't just like, "Oh my god, this chick sucks now." Like, what?
hey, Frabetti, everyone, and thank you again.
Thank you, man.
Be sure to check out Speaking of Schmoedown, a sports talk show devoted to the movie trivia. Schmoedown airs Saturdays at 11:30 a.m. Pacific Time, 2:30 p.m. Eastern Time, here on the Jcast Network.